Hello and welcome. Tonight, after over 4 hours of deliberations, the Senate fails to pass the amended Electoral Act bill, marking another setback. President Bola Tinubu says there's no going back on his administration's reforms at a meeting with a World Bank delegation in Abuja. Lagos Assembly urges the state government to suspend demolitions in Makoko and vows to visit the community for an on-the-spot assessment. And former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary agreed to testify in the congressional probe of Jeffrey Epstein.
And on business, Nigeria and South Africa drive Africa's record solar growth in 2025, according to a report by Global Solar Council.
On sports news tonight, Morocco's Football Federation to appeal disciplinary sanctions and fines imposed by CAF after chaotic scenes at the Cup of Nations final against Senegal last month.
And from the nation's capital, Department of State Service arraigns former Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami and his son Abdulaziz on a 5-count charge of terrorism and illegal possession of firearms.
We begin from the National Assembly, and yet again, the passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill remained inconclusive as the Senate stalls on a decision after spending over 4 hours considering the report of the 7-member ad hoc committee behind closed doors. The Red Chamber had commenced deliberations on the consolidated report of the committee, which was constituted last week to harmonize contributions of lawmakers on the amendment bill, before dissolving into a closed-door session to review the documents. However, upon reconvening, the Senate kept mute over the outcome of the lengthy deliberations, effectively adjourning plenary to the next legislative day. Our National Assembly correspondent, Gloria Umezioke, reports.
Anticipation seemed high as lawmakers reconvened for plenary, presided over by the Senate President.
Distinguished colleagues,
for the third time in a row, the Electoral Act 2022 Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2026 comes under scrutiny. Lawmakers are set to consider the report of the 7-man ad hoc committee constituted to harmonize contributions from the previous deliberation. Once again, the process has shifted behind closed doors.
Further recall that a subcommittee was set up at the closed-door session, which was agreed to work on some areas of the bill and then report back in closed-door session today. The motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate now goes into closed-door session to continue further deliberations of this report before coming back to plenary.
After over 4 hours, lawmakers re-emerge in silence, effectively adjourning plenary to the next legislative day. The process, again, inconclusive.
In emergency preparedness.
Earlier, a motion sponsored by Senator Idiat Olurante has asked the Ministry of Health to produce and enforce national guidelines on stocking life-saving antidotes in hospitals following the death of Ifunanya Nwangene after suffering snake bites days ago at her residence.
Concern that a significant number of public-private hospitals across Nigeria do not stock essential life-saving antidotes such as antivenoms and antitoxins, or maintain insufficient quantities, leading to dangerous delay in treatment, unnecessary referral, and preventable loss of lives.
It is tragic that the deceased went the way she died. But the bigger lesson for us is the need for us to have in place policies that must drive our health care. We must put in place policies that work. Urge the Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to ensure procurement, quality assurance, proper storage, and nationwide availability of safe, effective, and affordable antivenoms and critical antidotes for use in public
and private hospitals with priority attention to high-risk regions. This is very good.
Lawmakers then observe a minute's silence.
The soul of our departed Nigerian, killed through snake venom, Ifunanya Nwangene, rest in perfect peace.
Earlier, the Senate confirmed the appointment of Honorable Justice Kayode Oyewole as a Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria following the adoption of a report by the Senate Committee on Judiciary, with the Senate President praying for wisdom and courage for him to dispense justice fairly without regard to status. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezoke, Channels Television News.
President Bola Tinubu has emphasized that his administration will not turn back from the path of reforms it has embarked upon as it works to strengthen the nation's economy. He was speaking when he received a delegation of the World Bank led by the Managing Director of Operations, Anna Bieda. At the meeting, which had Vice President Kassim Shettima in attendance, the president also charged the World Bank to explore financing options that accelerate Africa's growth and help address the needs of its growing population.
I give you the assurance that, well, since we've gone into this journey of reform, we have our hands on the plow and we're never going to look back. It is very clear that initially it was painful, difficult, but those who win are not those who give up along the way in difficult times. Nigeria is the heart of the continent, and it is necessary for us to do what is necessary to strengthen the economy, particularly looking at the young population of this country. I want the World Bank to look at various options of financing, teaching the model. What is the value of encouragement for an Africa that is taking this huge population on an assurance of prosperity? How can you accelerate that growth in a partnership with us? It's very important to me.
Meanwhile, the Managing Director of Operations World Bank Group, Anna Bieda, told the president that Nigeria deserves commendation for the results the reforms embarked upon in the last 2 years have achieved. She also commended the president's continued communication to the people, as well as those outside of Nigeria, of the importance of the reforms and outlined ways the World Bank will partner with Nigeria.
Nigeria is a frequent example in my discussions with people around the world, presidents around the world, policymakers around the world, investors around the world, because I think in these 2 years, the results that have been achieved are really commendable. And what I have particularly appreciated and followed, if I may also add, is your steady direction that you communicate to the people of Nigeria, as well as outside of Nigeria, of the importance of the reforms. Because that has given confidence and clarity that even when reform implementation can be difficult, there is no turning back. You're staying the course because it is what's needed to get the results that you're looking for. So all of this just to say we're looking forward to a new country partnership framework. What you will see from our side is that it needs to be absolutely resonating with you and the people of Nigeria, as the World Bank being a close partner. And the other thing we want you to see is that you're getting a bundled solution from the public sector side of the World Bank and the private sector side of the World Bank. And just by perhaps ending on this note of of our partnership that we can do together. Our portfolio on IDA and IBRD, which is the public sector side, is about $17 billion today.
The Nigeria International Energy Summit, a federal government-backed conference, opens today in Abuja, welcoming senior government officials and industry leaders at the opening of the 9th edition of the conference. President Bola Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, says Nigeria is ready for the big-ticket projects and collaboration in harnessing the continent's energy resources. The theme for this year is the NIES 2026, is energy for peace and prosperity, securing our shared future. Our energy correspondent, Olu Phillips, now reports.
Arguably Africa's biggest gathering of heads of delegates, senior government officials, leaders of international oil companies, chief execs of indigenous energy companies, finance institutions, experts, industry stakeholders are attending the Nigeria International Energy Summit in Abuja, the nation's capital.
We're also joined by His Excellency.
In Africa's consensus on peace and prosperity using natural energy resource as growth catalyst is catching on. This conference is focusing solely on that.
Your continued support strengthens NIES as a premium platform for policy dialogue, investment partnerships, and innovation in the energy sector. As we engage over the coming days, let us focus on building resilient energy systems, expanding access, and accelerating sustainable solutions, and fostering cross-border cooperation that secures prosperity for our people and peace for our region.
Let's look at some numbers. Despite Africa's immense potential, Africa's paradoxical reality sees the exporting of 70% of its crude, 40% of its natural gas, losing about $15 million yearly. And while the cost of financing projects in Africa is between 15 to 20%, that's only comparable between 4 to 6% in Asia. But help is coming.
I am proud to announce that the African Energy Bank, which is scheduled to launch here in Abuja in the first half of 26, is much more than just a financial institution. It is a Pan-African platform for the exchange of equipment, energy services, and above all, a catalyst for innovative financing to support structuring African energy projects.
Nigeria is looking good as the poster child to lead in this just transition agenda. At least our African brothers say so, and also seeking investments.
No single country or institution can meet Africa's energy needs. Conversely, working together through strategic partnerships and coordinated action, we can secure an energy future that supports prosperity, safeguarding the environment, and strengthens peace.
We firmly believe that Nigeria's prosperity is also the prosperity of Equatorial Guinea and of the entire region.
Nigeria's two ministers of oil and gas have some assuring words and some navigational aids.
We remain firmly committed to scaling production towards 12 billion standard cubic feet per day, as charged by Mr. President, positioning gas as the cornerstone of Nigeria's energy security and prosperity.
The President also, we launched what we call the West African Reference Market, our equivalent of European reference market. The vision is clear. The vision is for Nigeria to become the refining hub of the Gulf of Guinea.
It will be a whole week of intense engagements, and the trades are pouring in.
The continent's energy consumption per capita is barely 1/3 of the global average. While more than 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity, GCF analysis indicates that Africa's total energy consumption must at least triple by 2050 to place the continent on a genuine path out of energy poverty.
Before declaring the conference officially open for the energy development conversations, Nigeria's Vice President, representing President Bola Tinubu, highlights key growth indicators of this government and an invitation to partnerships.
The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission recorded strong and consistent revenue performance, surpassing annual targets and reinforcing fiscal sustainability. As I formally, on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, declare open the 9th Nigeria International Energy Summit, I invite all participants to engage constructively, invest confidently, and partner purposefully with Nigeria and Africa.
There will be a keen global attention on Nigeria as regards this one-week engagement. It's always interesting to read the communique at the end and reactions that might follow. Stay tuned. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
In part 2 after the break, Lagos Assembly urges the state government to suspend demolitions in Makoko and vows to visit the community for an on-the-spot assessment. Please stay with us.
My baba, they always say, for market, every day gets your own wahala. Sometimes people go on scam you. But Baba say, no be by gra, you must cool down, dey sharp. Because with OPay payment, your money go enter sharp, no story. But inside market, anything fit happen. One day, we no see phone again. My baba remember OPay USSD lock, dial *955*131#. Baba press am, lock account. From market woman to driver, from small boy to big man. Now OPay, they protect people like us. My baba fit sell, press phone, collect POS, and still they teach me price. And when they don't tire am, go just tap OPay night guard. We no fear for this our hustle life. Now OPay be the people payment shield.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste. It's here again, Africa's biggest talent discovery and sports gathering, the Niger Delta Games. Date, February 20th to 27th, 2026. Host, Benin City, Ondo State. Niger Delta Games will feature athletics, boxing, swimming, wrestling, tennis, among 17 sports. Plan to attend. It will be exciting and fun-filled. Sponsored by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Making the difference.
We felt, let us also use that instrument, sports to build regional unity and vision.
Niger Delta Games, brought to you by Dunamis Icon Limited. Beyond oil, we are harnessing talents.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. After over 4 hours of deliberations, the Senate fails to pass the amended Electoral Act bill, marking another setback. President Bola Tinubu says there's no going back on his administration's reforms at a meeting with the World Bank delegation in Abuja. Lagos Assembly urges the state government to suspend demolitions in Makoko and vows to visit the community for an on-the-spot assessment. And former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary agreed to testify in the congressional probe of Jeffrey Epstein. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, has witnessed the official launch of Grand Cycle 8 Country Dialogue, by the country coordinating mechanism Nigeria for Global Fund Health Initiatives alongside the country team. The dialogue marks the beginning of nationwide discussions aimed at shaping funding priorities for HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, and health system strengthening. Speaking at the event in Abuja, Professor Pate emphasized that the meeting is designed to promote inclusive country ownership, integration, and sustainability in health financing.
A critical moment. I think this is, I'm sure, very clear in everyone's mind that we're at a very interesting time. We've made tremendous progress over the last 20-something years, but we're also facing significant shifts, changes, and challenges that are with us. That means for the partnership, with us all included, we have to think creatively and perhaps work differently to ensure that we safeguard the progress that we have made, but also continue to build on the progress so that we achieve more for HIV, for TB, for malaria, for our health system, to do it equitably, to build our national systems and all of that.
The Lagos State House of Assembly has intervened in the recent demolition exercise in Makoko, asking ministries and agencies to stop the levelings in Makoko, Shogoro, and Okwafon communities. During a meeting led by the Majority Leader of the State Assembly, Nohim Adams, who is also the Chairman House Committee on Makoko demolition, told the gathering that a task force committee will be constituted to address the matter, and community leaders will be elected as members of that committee to ensure that no issue is left untouched.
Makoko, a historic waterfront community in Lagos, Nigeria, built on stilts over the lagoon, is currently threatened by the state government's demolition exercise over what the government describes as a regeneration plan. The aggrieved residents of Makoko are meeting with some members of the Lagos State House of Assembly to discuss the situation at hand. But first, their lawyer reels out their demands, especially those that have been affected by the evacuation.
The community truly, which is married to the second block, wants restoration and restitution. Meaning that those whose property are demolished beyond that 30 meters be restored to the community. And these ones are not behaving like, they are behaving like adults who cannot see what, even though the government has also been there, what the intention of government is. So they want restoration and they want compensation.
Residents appealed to the state government to stop the demolition exercise. They also announced that from now on, they will take their destiny in their hands in the negotiations with the government.
We want a stop to this demolition. We want compensation for our people. As a matter of fact, Makoko is a heritage that shouldn't go away.
The special advisor on Aegis and urban development to the state government says government has constantly engaged the people of Makoko on the ongoing regeneration plan and assures of laudable plans for the community.
Mr. Governor committed $2 million. And we're expecting the counterpart funding from the United Nations agencies, $8 million, for us to do the first phase. Up to today, we have not gotten it. We have had meetings with them, and they have told us that they will go on a fundraising to come and support the people of Makoko. Recently, sometimes last year, there was an high-tension cable fell in another part of Lagos, and people died. And it was a decision was taken. So it is not only in Makoko alone that we should now clear the high-tension corridor, including the Lekki axis.
Another incident touched on by the lawmakers is the issue of palliatives distributed by Yaba LCDA chairman to the displaced persons, a gesture the lawmakers feel was not appropriate at that time.
I took rice, I took curry, I took beans. You have mentioned, where do you want them to cook it? Where will they eat it? Then is it rice that you mean as palliative?
In the meantime, the State House of Assembly is asking ministries, departments and agencies to stop the ongoing demolition in Makoko, Shogunro and other communities.
All demolitions will be stopped until further notice. That is number one. Number two, that the task force that they want to constitute, we want to see the list of the task force because we want the residents to be duly involved.
The Lagos State House of Assembly assures the people of due compensation and has promised to visit the area to ascertain the impact of measures carried out so far by the state government.
So let's head to the nation's capital now, and Terry Kumi is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Terry. Great to see you again.
Well, it's great to see you as well, Ayo. Happy New Year. I'm seeing you for the first time. Now, the Department of State Services has arraigned the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and his son, Abdulaziz, in a 5-count charge bordering on alleged terrorism and illegal firearms possession. In the charge filed before the Federal High Court, Abuja, Mr. Malami is also accused of refusing to prosecute suspected terrorism financiers whose case files were handed to him while he served as the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. Mr. Malami and Abdulaziz are equally accused of warehousing firearms in their residence at Gesa Phase 2 area, Burning Kebbi local government area of Kebbi State, without lawful authority. They pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to them. Counsel to the prosecution, Callistus Eze, thereafter prayed the court to order their remand in the custody of the DSS and fix a date for the commencement of trial. Responding, the defense lawyer, Shuaibu Aruan, senior advocate of Nigeria, applied orally for bail for the defendants, arguing that the defendants have been in DSS custody for over 2 weeks. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik rejected the oral bail application, noting that her court is a court of record, and ordered the defense to file a formal application for bail. She ordered that the defendants be remanded in the custody of the DSS and adjourned till February 20th for the commencement of trial. Now, in Plateau State, no fewer than 4 persons, including a soldier, and 3 suspected bandits have been killed during a coordinated attack on Sabongari and Zurak communities in Wase local government area of the state, while 2 soldiers have been declared missing. Military sources disclosed that troops of Operation Enduring Peace thwarted the attack after receiving intelligence that armed bandits had mobilized about 200 motorcycles in preparation for an assault on Kampani community. The troops were immediately placed on red alert to prevent the planned invasion. The incident report stated, quote, at about 17:03 hours, the bandits moved towards Sabongari and fired sporadically, which prompted troops to mobilize and confront the bandits, end of quote. The report explained that while troops were carrying out clearance operations in Sabongari, the attackers regrouped in large numbers and launched a second offensive on Zurak. Troops reportedly responded with superior firepower, forcing the criminals to flee with casualties. During the firefight, troops neutralized 3 bandits and recovered 2 motorcycles, 2 AK-47 magazines, and 13 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition. However, the military confirmed that Corporal Oladipo Adekunle was killed in action during the exchange of gunfire. His rifle and a rocket-propelled grenade tube were reportedly taken by the fleeing assailants. 2 other soldiers, Trooper Aminu Rashid and Private Ali Yakubu, were declared missing in action. Now, Nigeria's drive towards a $1 trillion economy cannot succeed without sustainable and well-maintained road infrastructure. The Minister of State for Works, Mr. Bello Goronyo, made the statement at the opening of its Road Summit organized by the Federal Road Maintenance Agency in Abuja. Our correspondent, Benny Ark, reports.
The Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, is hosting the Road Summit 2026 with key stakeholders from government, private sector, industry, and development partners in attendance. Present at the event is the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, and the Minister of State for Works, executives of FEMA, heads of agencies, and stakeholders. With the theme Sustainable Road Infrastructure for National Development, the Managing Director of FEMA leads the conversation.
Sustainable road infrastructure extends beyond building roads. It is about building better roads and managing them better. It requires a shift from the short-term reactive intervention to long-term life cycle planning. It calls for data-driven asset management, resilient design standards, predictable maintenance funding, and strong institutional coordination across all tiers of government.
The economy of good roads to the development of any nation is harped on by the Minister of State for Works during his keynote address.
Roads are not merely asphalt and gravel. They are the arteries through which the lifeblood of our economy flows. Road transport remains Nigeria's dominant mode of mobility, handling over 90% of both passenger and goods movements. When our road work, Nigeria moves forward.
He also reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to value for money projects, innovative funding, and zero tolerance for waste, noting that quality road infrastructure is critical to national security, economic stability, and improved quality of life for Nigerians.
This administration has made bold choices despite fiscal constraint. We are accelerating legacy projects, focusing on vital corridors and moving beyond annual budget towards public-private partnerships, life cycle costing, and innovative resource management.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation also echoed the role of road infrastructure as the backbone of the economic life of a nation.
The building new roads is only half the responsibility of governance. The other half, which is equally critical, is maintaining and preserving what we have built. Sustainable road maintenance is not an option, it is a compelling necessity. Without it, today's investments become tomorrow's liabilities. This is the central mandate of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, and it is why this summit is of such national importance.
This summit will produce clear practical outcomes that will strengthen sustainable road development, improve maintenance practices, and enhance collaboration across the sector, while ensuring that road investments deliver safety, efficiency, and long-term economic growth. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria and South Africa drive Africa's record solar growth in 2025, according to a report by Global Solar Council. That's on Business News. Please stay with us. Well, welcome back to the news at 10. Cheering news for residents in Ondo State as Governor Obasani has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to improving rural infrastructure with a promise to open more access roads for farming communities. The governor made the pledge while commissioning the 22-kilometer asphaltic Pambegwa-Kaura Road linking Kubau and Kaura local government areas, a project expected to boost agricultural productivity, ease transportation challenges, and enhance security for rural dwellers.
The arrival of His Excellency. The commissioning of the 22-kilometer Pambegwa-Kauru Road marks another milestone in the administration's drive to strengthen rural connectivity and support agricultural development. The ceremony attracts stakeholders from the two local government areas and beyond.
We are grateful to all who work collaboratively to bring this project to completion. Our resident engineers and site team, the contractor, above all, the community who accommodated construction activities with patience and cooperation.
Having suffered years of poor road networks that hindered economic activities, residents of Pambegwa, Kauru, and neighboring communities expressed excitement over the completion of the road by the Governor Obasani administration, describing it as a long-awaited relief from years of difficulty.
You're coming, Your Excellency, in less than 2 years, this road has been completed. The people of Kauru local government extend their gratitude, and it knows no bounds, Your Excellency. We are very grateful for this rural transformation.
Your Excellency, this road is more than an infrastructure project. It is a lifeline for our people.
State, the Governor of Inclusion, His Excellency Senator Dr. Uba Sani.
For Governor Sani, the newly completed road is part of his administration's broader agenda to open up farming communities and improve the livelihoods of dwellers in rural communities who have suffered marginalization for many years.
The true value of this road lies in its impact on human lives. Along its stretch are no fewer than 46 farming communities whose economic potential has been constrained for decades by poor access. For these communities, the road represents safer transportation, reduced travel time, access to markets, healthcare, education, and opportunities that were once distant.
After his speech, the governor unveils the road.
To Kauru local government, commissioned by my humble self, Senator Obasani, Governor Kaduna State, on Tuesday, 3rd February 2026, to the glory of Almighty Allah and for the benefit of the people of Kubau, Kauru, Kaduna State, and humanity in general.
With the commissioning of the Pambegwa-Kauru Road, Governor Uba Sani is assuring that more road projects will be executed in other parts of the state to ensure inclusive development and improve local businesses.
The Governor of Inclusion, His Excellency.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, says significant progress has been recorded in Abuja under the administration of President Bola Tinubu over the past 2.5 years. Mr. Wike made the remarks after inspecting ongoing projects across the nation's capital. He noted that as the FCT marks its 50th anniversary, the Tinubu administration has delivered commendable results, describing 2026 as a golden jubilee year for Abuja. Speaking on the inspected projects, the FCT minister expressed satisfaction with the pace and quality of the ongoing road construction in Gishiri, which he said would be inaugurated to celebrate President Bola Tinubu's 3rd year in office. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory says significant progress has been recorded so far. Well, that's all from the nation's capital. Let's go back to Lagos, where Ayo will continue with the rest of the news.
Thank you so much, Terry. Ondo State is 50. And Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, while speaking at the Golden Jubilee of the state's creation, has assured residents of his administration's commitment to harnessing the human and material resources for the overall development of the state. In his goodwill message, President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Minister of Interior, Olubomi Tunjojo, assured Ondo State of adequate support of his administration.
Top government functionaries and other important personalities converge on the Ondo State Sports Complex, Akure, for the celebration of the Golden Jubilee of Ondo State. Delivering his address, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa commends the sacrifices of the past governors and leaders of the state.
50 years ago, on Tuesday, 3rd February 1976, history took a decisive and defining turn. Ondo State emerged as a sovereign administrative entity within the Nigerian Federation, not as an accident of geography, nor a mere bureaucratic adjustment, but as the fulfillment of a people's long-held aspiration for self-expression, self-governance, dignity, and destiny.
The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who is representing President Bola Tinubu at the occasion, felicitates with the government and people of Ondo State on the Golden Jubilee celebration.
Today, we celebrate a state that has distinguished itself in education, public service, culture, and economic contribution. From Akure to Owo, from Ondo to Ikare, and from Okitipupa all the way to the riverine communities in Ilaje. The people of this state have consistently demonstrated diligence, innovation, and unity. You have produced leaders, educators, professionals, and citizens whose contributions have shaped Nigeria's growth and stability.
Created on February the 3rd, 1976, Ondo State, popularly referred to as the Sunshine State, is endowed with abundant human and material resources.
Thank you. Thank you.
Governor Yedatiwa at this Golden Jubilee celebration calls on all the citizens to join hands with his administration in harnessing the resources towards a more prosperous future for everyone.
The engine room of InDrive, the renowned global mobility platform, is the focus as it treats its platinum drivers to a well-deserved night off the roads, celebrating a year of dedication and hard work with the InDrive Drivers Party. The event honors excellence, teamwork, and even sets the tone for bigger milestones ahead.
InDrive, an international company operating in the fields of ride-hailing, delivery, cargo transportation, and urban services, is celebrating its platinum drivers for the year 2025, recognizing their outstanding commitment and service, which remain at the core of the company's success. The celebration comes alive with music, dancing, and friendly competitions, keeping drivers engaged while offering chances to win exciting prizes. The night also marks a major announcement: the launch of the InDrive Drivers Academy, an in-app learning platform designed to improve both driver and customer experience.
Down so that you can read more information about it.
Speaking outside the hall, InDrive executives highlight new partnerships and initiatives aimed at empowering drivers and boosting efficiency.
For this year, 2026, we have lots of initiatives lined up. This is like the first to celebrate our top performers for 2025 to start the year and ensure that they feel special.
In the spirit of continuous improvement, we developed the Drivers Academy. In our study of the platinum drivers, we identified what made them different, and we put it together in a module of educational materials to help others who desire to attain the status that these professionals have been able to attain. The goal is to save power, energy while making money. We want our drivers to earn money as they drive and as they partner with us, and they can't do that if they spend all their money on foiling their cars and maintaining their cars. So the CNG platform, the CNG models, and that partnership we've done to ensure that our drivers benefit maximally from cheaper energy and maximizing their profits.
Top drivers expressed their appreciation to the company and pledged to achieve even better performance this new year.
I'm one of the drivers that got slots to Lakwe. I won that together with my family, and I can't believe it. My family are very, very, very happy. When my family are happy, definitely I'm happy, and I'm very grateful to InDrive.
I hope to achieve more this year. Last year, I think I had like 2,000 rides, like trips. Yeah, this year I intend to achieve more.
With cheers and shared pride, the InDrive Drivers Party draws to a close, not just as a celebration, but as a reaffirmation of progress and the company's ongoing commitment to its drivers.
Willabong is right here to give us the latest in the world of business.
Thank you, Ayo. Now, Africa has recorded its strongest solar energy growth in 2025, with South Africa and Nigeria leading the continent, and that's according to a new Global Solar Council report. The continent added 54% more solar capacity than in 2024, with South Africa contributing 1.6 gigawatts, Nigeria 803 megawatts, and Egypt 500 megawatts. Solar expansion is accelerating across Africa, driven by rising energy demand, policy reforms, private investment, and falling technology costs, with total capacity expected to exceed 33 gigawatts by 2029. Now, still in form of energy, fossil fuel oil and gas giant Ondo PLC has released its unaudited 2025 financial results, reporting strong growth across revenue, profit, and production. The company posted revenue of 3.21 trillion naira, while profit after tax rose 10% to 241.3 billion naira. Group production climbed 32% to 32,482 barrels of oil equivalent per day, supported by improved asset performance. Crude oil trading volumes also rose for 2% to 26 cargoes, or that's about 29.4 million barrels. Capital expenditure increased during the year, reflecting investments in upstream development and infrastructure following Ondo's assumption of operatorship. Meanwhile, cost of optimization measures delivered about $17.7 million in savings, helping to support margins. The company also recorded a net impairment reversal of 540.7 billion naira, compared with an impairment charge last year. Commenting on the results, Group Chief Executive Wale Tinubu said the focus is now on accelerating production growth, strengthening cash generation, and building on the momentum as Ondo moves into 2026. And now we check in with the domestic equities market. We saw a rebound today, recouping losses from Monday. Yes, in John Makoko.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, it's a better close today at the NGX. Today, 332 billion naira is what investors brought into the market. So it doesn't really change much because we're still on the same level, the 106 trillion naira level. But it gives us a green all share index, 0.31% at 165,901.57. And a major driver of this today is Dangote Cement. So I'm sure by now you've heard that Dangote is expanding its gas supply relationship with the NNPCL, and it's going to affect Dangote Cement, one of the arms of Dangote. So today, investors were very much interested in that and put some money there, and so the stock gained 8 naira at the close of trade to close at 644 naira, making it the market mover. There are other contributors to the positive sentiment in the market today. GTCO is one of that, Charms, as well as Custodian Insurance. And we've noticed some positive sentiment around insurance stocks since last week, so perhaps you want to look closely at that. But the good news is that it's another positive close, and it's congratulations to the bull.
And now for the snapshot performance for other major equities around the world. And Will Ibang is back to Ayo for more on the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Will. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary have both agreed to testify in the congressional investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Today we are producing more than 3 million pages.
The U.S. Department of Justice has removed thousands of documents relating to Jeffrey Epstein from its website after victims said their identities had been compromised. Lawyers for Epstein's victims said a lack of redactions in the files released on Friday had turned upside down the lives of nearly 100 survivors.
I found my own, date of birth, my own phone number, but was also just really disturbed to see evidence of names of people that I knew did not want to be public.
Email addresses and nude photos in which the names and faces of potential victims could be identified were included in the release. Survivors issued a statement calling the disclosure outrageous and said they should not be named, scrutinized and re-traumatized. The Department of Justice said it had taken down all the flagged files and that mistakes were due to technical or human error. Meanwhile, former US President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary, the former Secretary of State, have agreed to testify in the congressional investigation into the late sex offender. It comes days before a vote on whether to hold the couple in criminal contempt for refusing to appear before the House Oversight Committee after a months-long standoff. Bill Clinton was acquainted with Epstein, who died in prison in 2019, but has denied knowledge of his sex offending and says he cut off contact 2 decades ago. It's unclear when the depositions will take place, but it will be the first time a former US president has testified to a congressional panel since Gerald Ford in 1983.
The whole world sees what is happening in Iran.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Russia has used a record number of ballistic missiles to target Ukraine's energy sector. The combined missile and drone strikes hit power plants and infrastructure in Kyiv and multiple locations, causing the most powerful blow so far this year, according to a private energy company, DTEK. The strikes were launched as temperatures dropped to -20 Celsius and left more than 1,000 tower blocks in the capital without heating once again, and damaged a power plant in the eastern city of Kharkiv. Zelensky said Russia was choosing terror and escalation rather than diplomacy. The attack comes after a so-called energy truce agreed by Donald Trump with Vladimir Putin expired at the weekend. The French offices of Elon Musk's X have been raided by the Paris prosecutor's cybercrime unit as part of an investigation into suspected offences, including unlawful data extraction and complicity in the possession of child pornography. The prosecutor's office also said Musk and the former ex-chief executive had been summoned to appear at hearings in April. In a separate development, the UK's Information Commissioner's Office announced a probe into Musk's AI tool Grok over its potential to produce harmful sexualized image and video content. X is yet to respond to either investigation. It has previously characterized the French investigation as an attack on free speech. US President Donald Trump has announced he will be seeking $1 billion in damages from Harvard University in his administration's ongoing feud with the institution. The news comes after the New York Times reported that the Trump administration had to backtrack from its demand for a $200 million payment in negotiations with the university. Trump cited the story in a Truth Social post, blaming Harvard for feeding a lot of nonsense to the New York Times. Trump officials have accused Harvard of not doing enough to tackle anti-Semitism during pro-Palestinian protests. Harvard has rejected the accusation. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has hit out at Eritrea's army for committing atrocities during the 2-long-year war in northern Tigray. Eritrean forces fought alongside the Ethiopian army against local Tigrayan fighters for control of Tigray, which borders Eritrea. In an address to Parliament, Abiy admitted for the first time that Eritrean troops had massacred people in Aksum, allegations Eritrea had previously denied following reports of mass killings that took place in the historic city over 2 days in November 2020. It is the latest twist in a volatile relationship between the two neighbours who flip-flop from being friends to enemies. And the grand opening of the Venice Carnival 2026 has taken place, with a variety of boats and floats making their way through the city's canals. As is tradition, a giant papier-mâché rat aboard a gondola led the way. Known as Pantigana, it is a long-standing symbol of the carnival. The 2-week festival attracts tourists from all over the globe, with dances, costumes and music lighting up the city. It marks a period of opulence before the beginning of Lent, the Christian tradition of 40 days of fasting in the run-up to Easter.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Morocco's Football Federation says it will appeal disciplinary sanctions and fines imposed by the Confederation of African Football, CAF, after the chaotic scenes at the Cup of Nations final against Senegal last month. The federation was fined a total of $315,000 last month, added to bans against 2 of its players. In a statement, the body revealed it would lodge an appeal in order to preserve all rights guaranteed by the regulations, citing non-conformity of these sanctions with the extent and seriousness of the incidents that occurred. Away from the continent, the head of the U.S. Olympic Committee, Jean Sykes, says the 2026 World Cup will be a first trial run of the U.S.'s ability to host spectators ahead of the 2028 Los Angeles Games. Mr. Sykes faced questions during his progress report on preparations for LA 2028 about whether ticket holders would be able to obtain visas given the toughened immigration policy implemented by President Donald Trump. Ukraine sports minister has slammed FIFA president Gianni Infantino for saying that the World Football's governing body FIFA would look at lifting a ban on Russia. Russian national teams and clubs were suspended from all competitions by FIFA and UEFA in February 2022 after the country's invasion of Ukraine. With the war still going on, Infantino is quoted as saying this ban has not achieved anything and has just created more frustration and hatred. End of quote. In response, Ukraine's sports minister Matvey Benier says Gianni Infantino's words sound, quote, irresponsible. And that's your sports news tonight. I am Kelly. Gigas, back to you today.
Many thanks, Kelly. And finally tonight, legendary American gospel singer Ron Kenoly has died at the age of 81. The news of his death was confirmed early on Tuesday, February the 3rd, 2026, by his longtime music director Bruno Miranda in a statement shared via the singer's official social media channels. Miranda announced that the Ancient of Days crooner had passed away at the age of 81. While the exact cause of death was not immediately disclosed, the announcement has indeed triggered an immediate wave of tributes from fellow artists, pastors and fans across the world, including in Nigeria, where he often performs. May his soul rest in peace. And the main news again. After over 4 hours of deliberations, the Senate failed to pass the amended Electoral Act bill, marking another setback. And President Bola Tinubu says there's no going back on his administration's reforms at a meeting with World Bank delegation in Abuja. That's the news at 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. From everyone here, you have a good night.